But all those victims were saved today because a brave, young woman let us hear. Mark pointed toward where Dara was being loaded into an ambulance. That girl Rapove. She's the one who told me where to find this place. And you know what started all? A homeless man named Jerome Miles broke into that storage unit and found your badge. He could have pawned it, but instead he went to the police. People helped each other. Nathan, that's what broke this case, not anything you did or didn't do under torture. Nathan looked up sharply. Someone found the torture room. This morning, they'd moved your belongings. They probably figured no one would ever look in some random storage unit for the first time. Nathan's composure completely broke. Tears rolled down his scarred cheeks as his shoulders shook with silent sobs. Mark noticed the missing fingers on his right hand, the bandage. Where his left ear should have been burned, scars created a horrific pattern across his neck and arms. They were going to kill me today, Nathan said. When he could speak again, that injection, it was potassium chloride, they said. I'd outlived my usefulness, that the police were sniffing around too. Much after the storage unit was discovered, if you'd been an hour later. But we weren't, Mark said firmly. You're alive, Nathan. That's what matters now. One of the paramedics approached. We need to transport him now. He needs immediate hospital care, malnutrition, infected wounds, possible organ damage from prolonged captivity. Mark squeezed Nathan's shoulder. Gently, I'll come check on you at the hospital. We'll talk more when you're feeling stronger. Nathan nodded weakly as the paramedics prepared him for transport. Mark, thank you for not giving up, partners. Don't give up on each other, Mark replied. He watched as they loaded Nathan into the ambulance, followed by the rescued victims in other emergency vehicles. The sun was setting now, casting long shadows across the abandoned vineyard. Crime scene tape fluttered in the evening breeze, marking the places where unimaginable horrors had occurred. With the immediate rescue operations complete, Mark coordinated briefly with the forensic team leader and ranking police officer, ensuring the scene would be properly processed through the night. Then he climbed into his Crown Victoria and headed for the Denton police station, where Clint Herway and his accomplices waited in custody. The dashboard clock read 6:47 p.m. as he drove back toward town, the rural landscape giving way once again to civilization. In his rearview mirror, the emergency lights at the vineyard grew smaller until they were just a glow on the horizon. The Denton police station was buzzing with activity. When Mark arrived, the magnitude of the operation meant every available interrogation room was occupied with federal agents and local detectives working in tandem to process the suspects. Mark made his way down the corridor, glancing through the observation windows. In the first room, Mrs. Vulov sat rigid in her chair, her earlier composure completely shattered as detectives pressed her about the orphanage's role in the trafficking operation. Next door, two of the men from the vineyard were being questioned separately, their tough facades crumbling under the weight of evidence. But it was the room at the end of the corridor that drew Mark's attention. He entered the observation area, joining several officers already watching through the one-way glass inside. Clint Herway sat across from Detective Sullivan and an FBI interrogator Mark recognized as Agent Patricia Chen. Clint looked nothing like the polished philanthropist from this morning. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his silver hair disheveled, but it was his eyes that had changed most, the confident warmth replaced by cold calculation as he seemed to weigh his options. Tell us about Nathan Raines, Agent Chen was saying. We know you held him. We found him, so let's skip the denials and get to the truth. Clint was silent for a long moment, then leaned back in his chair. When he spoke, his voice was matter-of-fact, as if discussing a business transaction. Agent Raines was investigating our crossbar operations in 1987, focusing on unregistered rural properties we used as waypoints. He was getting close, too close, so we arranged a meeting through one of his informants. Told him we had information about a major shipment. Where was this meeting? an abandoned hardware store on the outskirts of Denton. One of my properties. Naturally, we had a man posing as a homeless vagrant approach him in the parking lot asking for help. When Rains let his guard down, the man used a tranquilizer dart. Quick, efficient, we loaded him into a carpet cleaning van and took him to one of my undeclared rental properties. Sullivan leaned forward and then we extracted information. The basement room was specially prepared, soundproofed, no windows. We used various methods, stress positions, sleep deprivation, temperature extremes. The torture chair was particularly effective for longer sessions. A medical contact of mine, a nurse with certain dependencies, kept him alive and functional. Mark felt his fists clench as Clint continued his clinical recitation. Rains was strong at first, but everyone breaks eventually with him. 6 months he'd given us the entire FBI playbook on the Crossroads Network's safehouse locations. Undercover identities, surveillance schedules, planned raids. We restructured our entire operation based on his intelligence. And you kept him for 4 years? Chen asked. He was a continuing asset. The FBI's tactics evolved, and so did our need for information. We moved him between various sites. Basement rooms, shipping containers. Finally, the vineyard, the chair, and his belongings went into storage when we upgraded our methods. I never imagined anyone would find that unit. Why keep him alive so long? Clint shrugged. Insurance information. And frankly, some of my associates enjoyed having a federal agent at their mercy. It sent a message to anyone thinking of betraying us. Through the glass, Mark watched Clint's casual recounting of horrors. Feeling rage build in his chest, he turned to the senior officer beside him. I want this man charged with everything possible, Mark said quietly. Kidnapping, torture, human trafficking, conspiracy, murder. For the bodies in that tank, his cooperation and community standing mean nothing. No plea deals. He faces the full weight of what he's done. The officer nodded. After what we found today, he won't see daylight again. Mark left the observation room, needing air, needing to be somewhere that wasn't filled with the casual evil of Clint. Heroes confessions. He drove to Denton Presbyterian Hospital where the victims had been taken. The pediatric ward was quiet, a stark contrast to the police station. Mark found Dara and her friend, whose name he'd learned was Savannah, in a shared room. A CPS caseworker, a kindly woman named Janet Morrison, was with them. Agent Callahan. Janet greeted him. I was just discussing options with the girls' foster placement, eventual sponsorship for citizenship, educational opportunities. How are they doing? Remarkably well, considering they're survivors. Mark spent a few minutes talking with them about their futures, about the support systems in place. Then, on impulse, he made a suggestion. Would you like to meet someone? The man we found at the vineyard. He was kept prisoner because he was trying to stop the people who hurt you. I think it might help both him and you to meet after getting medical clearance. Mark accompanied the girls to Nathan's room, 2 floors up. His former partner was awake, looking marginally better, with 4 fluids and pain medication, though the extent of his injuries was still shocking in the harsh hospital lighting. Nathan, Mark said softly, there are some people who'd like to meet you. Dar stepped forward first, her voice small but steady. You tried to stop them. They hurt you because you tried to protect people like us. Nathan's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry I couldn't stop them sooner. The things I told them. No. Savannah spoke for the first time, her English halting but clear. You fight them. They break you, but you fight. We understand, we forgive. The room fell silent, except for the quiet beep of medical monitors. Then Dara reached out and gently took Nathan's damaged hand in both of hers. Now, we all free, that's what matters. Mark stood back watching this unexpected moment of grace in all the darkness they'd uncovered today. Here was something pure. Victims recognizing each other's pain, offering forgiveness where none was required, finding strength in shared survival. It was he realized what would ultimately defeat operations like Crossroads. Not just law enforcement or justice systems, but the resilience of the human spirit, the capacity for people to help each other heal. Jerome Miles could have ignored what he found. Dira could have stayed silent in fear. Nathan could have given up hope, but they didn't. Evil might be organized and powerful, but goodness, when it came together, was stronger still.